Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very tall leader, a doyen of industry, and the patriarch of the Chandaria Group from Kenya, Dr. Manu Chandaria. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Dr. Chandaria is the chairman of the Chandaria Foundation. He serves on several boards around the world. He has been recognized, felicitated, and awarded several times, including the Order of the British Empire, CBS, and EBS. So, sir, my first question to you: you were born in Nairobi in 1929 and educated across 3 continents. What key lessons did your early years teach you?
Well, the first early years was in a school over here.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the wartime, our family decided that young people and older people and women must go back to India
Mm-hmm.
because of the World War II. And at that time, we were all sent out.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, Nairobi had 2 buildings, 2-story high.
Mm-hmm.
When the ship just was sitting, touching Mumbai, Bombay. At that time, it was called Bombay.
Yeah.
View lovely lights. And then when we came down, we saw buildings 10, 11, 12 stories, red trams running around, buses, double-decker. And I looked at myself and asked myself, hey, there's no difference between me and them. How come in Kenya there's only 2 houses, buildings, which is 2 stories? And then when I went over there and stayed there 4 years, that gave me a complete understanding of how Indians live, because I'm a part of it. At the same time, we started reading. I read probably in Gujarati almost all major writers and started understanding, which was very different than India. So that was the first challenge. If they can do it, why can't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then my parents decided, I went to college in Mumbai, in Bombay, and stayed there 4 years. And that also gave me, and this was the time when Mahatma Gandhi was running the Quit India movement. And so I became also a part of that. And I understood, and I felt very happy that before I left the university, I got the independence. And I thought that he was a role model for the sacrifice that he gave to India. And that planted in my mind, this man did it. He's one of us. Why can't I do it? Then my parents decided that I should go to United States. And first stop was London. London was, again, when I looked at it, 20 stories, 30 stories buildings. And, the whole infrastructure was so, my eyes literally couldn't close. Just look at it and say, wow. How come Kenya is so behind? Though the population there is European, British. And next time, then we went, as soon as I went to United States, I stayed in a floor, 63rd floor in a hotel. And because of the time difference, I'll get up early in the morning or midnight and look downstairs. And I say, my God, if they can build 100-story buildings, they can do so many things in this country.
Absolutely.
So that really challenged me.
Yeah.
So
Fascinating.
No, I'm going to make sure that whatever I do, I want to see that at least I achieve something in my life.
Very interesting. And sir, we're going to talk much more about all the businesses that you did, but your family has always been known for very, very strong values. I want to ask you, what personal philosophies or values have guided you through decades of business, philanthropy, and public service?
Well, the first thing is that to maintain a joint family, you require patience, first vision that you want to have a family and you want to keep them together. Then you want to have love and affection.
Yeah.
More hearing than speaking. Start becoming somebody so that they will follow. Keep a family these days together is not very easy. But at that time, we were all so much. Number one is that I'm a Jain. So the principle of Jainism also was there. Being a disciple of Mahatma Gandhi, it gave us a value, hard work, always challenge yourself. Without challenging yourself, you will not move. It's very easy to stay still. And this, creating a family values, which love, affection, and understanding of each other. Let go things, not hold on.
Right.
And that made us, as the family, continue to prosper. Very, very difficult to start with, but it always challenged. I want to be someone. I want to make my family as great as possible.
Right. Very interesting. Very interesting. And you've spoken about love and importance of keeping the family together. What has been your central purpose throughout your life in business and in service?
Well, in business was that we started with a very small company.
Yeah.
And we decided that, look, we have to grow. Grow means vision is necessary. Commitment is necessary. Then hard work is necessary. Integrity is necessary in whatever you do. Honesty. All those principles were absolutely necessary for each one member of our family. I became and made very sure that we continue to propagate that within the family and make sure that the family continues to achieve.
Very interesting.
And in service, right from the beginning, the example of Gandhi, serving with half a dhoti, and with full dhoti, and a little cover on the top. And United States, when I was there, Ford, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, and so many of MacArthur, so many of them were doing some service.
Yeah.
And they were making and contributing to the betterment of the society. That ideology of working and helping others, holding others' hand, was also very much visible.
Fantastic. But the question I have for you, sir, is that there is business and there is service. Your family has balanced both these two commitments very well. How have you done this? Business is making money, service is giving away a lot of it.
The business-wise was hard work and create multiplicity in the businesses. Grow as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Create wealth. The important part of creating wealth was simply, if I can utilize for myself, for my family, there is also, and I'm earning from a society where I live, in a country where I live. What about giving them back? They have given me, I was nothing, and gave me so much. Then a part of mine, or part of the family's wealth, must go towards service and serving people. The second part was that when you realize their pain and it hurts you, that's where the service starts. If it doesn't hurt, then nothing happens.
Absolutely.
And in the world, people, all of us are holding our hand like this.
Correct.
To see, to turn this hand to this way.
Give. Yes.
Give is very difficult because it is a part of yourself and part of feeling for others. For family, yes, but feeling for others whom I even don't know. People around the country, around the continent, where they are, which we don't even know them. To make very sure, do we become an instrument to support, to help?
Very interesting. You were just telling me a few minutes back about how you went to Mumbai and then you were in London, you were in USA. Your family has grown from Kenya across the entire globe. You're also telling me that there are 4 generations. I want to ask you, what values are essential to sustain a family business across multiple generations and multiple geographies?
We were first advised by a European, Sir Ernest Wasey, who came from England with a very, very poor background. But he worked hard. He used to tell us that I had a choice, either to have a meal at night or a hot, warm bed. And he put up, and when he came over here, and we made him a chairman of our company. And he said, look, you're a large family. Large family, you will have disputes and differences. Why don't you move from one to number of more countries? And initially, we opened up in Tanzania, Tanganyika at that time, Uganda, Ethiopia, Zambia. So the members of the family moved. So there was very little to fight because there were not 16 at that time at one place. They moved. And so the whole idea was to continue to remain. And then they said, look, Africa, in earlier stages and time, Africa had lots of coups, lots of problems. It's about now you've got a large family. How are you going to look after them? Go overseas now. And so we started with Europe, in the Southeast Asia, and right up to China. So I think the whole purpose was, the fundamental is to keep the family together, number one. Provide them what is necessary. Create wealth. After creating wealth, make very sure there's a good use of wealth. Good use means the children will know. Yes, they can spend, but there is another part of the life where people are unhappy.
Very interesting. Let's now talk about the foundation now, sir. What was the inspiration to create the Chandaria Foundation, and what was your vision?
Well, vision was where I'd come down from US, and I started becoming a second engineer in a 40 people working in a plant, making pots and pans, and 6 members from the family. So I asked one day when we became 100 people in about 2.5 years. We all went to our parents and asked him, Papa, how about setting up Chandaria Foundation? He looked at me and he said, something wrong with you? I said, what's wrong with me? He said, you lived too long in America. I said, I've lived 2.5 or 3 years in America. He said, but we have a hall here and 36 members of the family at home. Fill it up. Forget about the foundation. When we don't have anything, how are we going to give anything? So get to work. So it's fine. After 4 years, in 1956, 5 to 6 years, he came back and said the idea of Chandaria Foundation was good. I liked it. I'm giving as a family 10% of the company's shareholding to the foundation. Now, do the good work. Because they were very simple, they're simple living, very plain, not that educated. My father was 3 vernacular, no speak, no read, or no write English. My mother was illiterate. At the age of 55, they asked her to start writing our Gujarati alphabet. But he saw that if our children are to be happy, they must get educated. And so he said, go ahead now. And we started with 1 scholarship. And now I think it has worked out well.
Yeah. But a question I wanted to ask you, because your foundation is talked about all over, and maybe an unfair question to ask you, but out of all the projects the foundation has done, is there any one that holds a special place in your heart?
Well, special, but there are two one which really is special to me. One is cancer. We started supporting the cancer units.
Right.
And we started making sure that we created a Chandaria Cancer Center at Moy Referral Hospital. Moy Referral Hospital is connected with Moy University. Then we created another Chandaria Cancer Center at Kenyatta University Hospital. And the third one we wanted to create was Oginga Odinga University in Kisumu. The building was done, everything was going on right. And then all of a sudden, during the election time, they diverted the money, which was supposed to be go for the center for election. So that stopped. Then where I live in Nairobi, Muthaiga, which is a very posh area, there is a hospital known as Gertrude Children's Hospital. And they decided to set up a cancer center. Supported them. And the plus point with them is that they brought bone marrow transplant. And the only one except in Egypt and in South Africa.
Amazing.
On the Eastern coast, they will be the only one. I think that is another one which touched us. And I think next year we will put up something at the coast. So this whole point that people just die and do nothing because of the cost, we can help and support them.
Amazing.
So that's for number one. Number two, I always feel that, many times people go to prison for no good reason. Just because the guy who caught them wants to make very sure that they are prosecuted and sent to jail. We selected the women's prison. And we said that in this women's prison, let's put the workshops. We put up in the 3 prisons, women prison workshops, and 4th and 5th is going to be opened up. 4th is going to be opened up pretty soon.
Amazing.
5th, 6th, and 7th. So there are 7 women prison and below. Now, what we do is that first prison is the one section is of food, baking bread, baking cakes, baking cupcakes, making mandazi. Mandazi is a sweet here in this country, which is made out of wheat and sweet, and it's fried item, potato chips, and chapatis. Chapatis are very, very popular in the country. So that is one section. The second section, we installed tailoring. So all the tailoring. At the same time, we installed what they call knitting. Because Nairobi and other highland areas are all cold. So everybody requires a sweater. So for that purpose, we decided to have knitting. And now we have also put up sanitary pads for the women. And then anything that can go for the women, and so that when they get out, as a matter of once you go into the jail,
Mm.
When you get out, nobody wants to look at you.
Right.
Everybody looks at you with suspicion.
Mm.
But then if we make arrangement in such a way that you got a skill, that you can do something, not only for employment purpose, but also for the purpose of starting your own.
Yeah.
So now the second stage is that we are going to start smaller ovens, which will based on the guests, which can remain in their home, and they can make cakes, they can make small breads, they can make whatever is necessary, they can make it.
Fascinating.
So this has improved the lives of the. When you go to the jail, you don't see people worried. They're smiling because they're waiting for their time to come out. Make sure that whether the society agrees, disagree, but they will make very sure that they will look after. Because once you send a woman to the prison, the household finished.
Yeah.
It goes difficult, very difficult. Then to go back, nobody wants you.
Yeah.
And now you've got your own skill, you can earn, you have a position in the society. So that was the purpose behind it. So both of them very nice.
Fascinating.
But while you are saying about the two one, right now the climate is an issue. And our president, everybody comes out with billion trees, 500 million trees, but nothing on the back to get them. So we decided to put 3 nurseries in school. And we did it. First year we did 9. Second year we did 18. Another 9, so become 18. And they can produce 1 million plants every year.
Amazing.
And they are all done with the girls' schools, boys' schools, but mainly girls' schools. And then they think that 4 years of secondary school education and some skill to grow plants.
Yeah.
Then they have some purpose, a purpose for which they can contribute towards the climate change.
Very, very interesting. Moving on, sir, you have received honors from around the world, including the OBE, the Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy, and so many others. What do these recognitions mean to you personally?
Well, for a few minutes, it lets me. Oh my God, just puts me, wow.
Yeah.
Somebody recognizes me. But at the same time, it's a recognition of the work.
Correct.
Both in the businesses and for the social work. There are people who can see for themselves who are not known to me, unknown to me, and they consider that this is the person who would like to elate him, make him feel, and let's give him a recognition which world will know. So when we went to Buckingham Palace to receive my award, I was told and asked, don't speak until spoken. I don't know, 50 times they've told me that when you kneel to the Queen and receive your honor, make sure no speak until you are spoken. And then the Queen asked me, where do you come from? I said, I come from a country where you went to sleep as a princess and woke up as a queen.
Wow.
Oh, she said, oh my God, Sagana, Kenya, treetops. So there was the people just said, what are you doing there? So she asked me the questions and I had to answer. I think that that's something. And all of a sudden, one day, 3-4 years back, I got a letter from Carnegie. And there were 4 important people who are getting that honor. So I asked them, phoned them up, asked them, I said, by mistake, you sent this letter to me or what? He said, no. We have studied for 2 years your case. It's not often we do it. And I was the 63rd recipient in last 22 years.
Wow.
And Carnegie was one of the first billionaire. in the United States. So when I went over there, and I couldn't believe that why would they want to give it to me. They said, we take 2 years before we decide who should. So I think it's the work of the foundation. It's the work of the family businesses. The work of and I would say that the honor goes to the family.
Correct.
It's not only me. It's me as an individual recognized, but it's the family which is recognized. We always, in our word, in our discussion, I is always not there. We is the word.
Absolutely. Very powerful words, sir. I have time for 2 more questions for you, sir.
Yeah.
As you look back at life, and it's been a fantastic life, what advice would you give to a lot of the younger family members who are now stepping into leadership roles?
Well, my first advice is when I look back, I look at Manu Chandaria, who started. When I finished, now, I like to say that, please, it's not only the wealth is not created, the purpose that you live happy. Yes, you live happy, but it's created with something in mind that you leave a mark in the country, leave a mark in the society. People look at you, towards you, for you. And that's where the whole change was, that to me, I felt that all those years made me more human, more person with humility. Because that human, to be a human, yes, I was born as a human. But have humility in your life, in your doing business, in doing your work, is not that easy. Because ego always comes in the way.
Correct. Correct. Amazing. And my last question to you, sir.
Yeah.
What would you want future generations to remember you by?
Future generation to remember that, yes, you start with nothing. You can be someone that you want to be.
Yeah.
There is nothing impossible. Everything is a possible. I want to be what you call a classical case, a case study. At the end of the day, what you want to achieve? Happiness. But happiness for yourself is only very limited. Happiness for others, within the family, within the community.
Yeah.
There's a book?
No.
On the photo?
No, it's not here.
No. Okay, I'll send you the book.
Yeah.
I'll send you the photograph of the book also. So there is a very, very strong feeling that unless you can leave a mark in the society, first is in your own family. The family then grows into the community.
Yeah.
And in the society. People should recognize you as a humble, as a giver, not a taker. Giver. Advice, knowledge, money, and kindness, compassion.
Yeah.
These are the values that people should aspire when they look at and the legacy. Yeah, that was the man. I remember. Because of, not that he was a millionaire, but he was a human with a huge amount of humility. And the letters that I get every time over the years is that we don't understand how the humility that you show, you propagate. I think we make a better world.
Yeah. And on that note, sir, I can only say what a fabulous conversation this has been. Not only have you shared your journey, your thoughts about the amazing Chandaria Group that you have built and been a part of. But you've built it with a tremendous amount of humility and a tremendous amount of maturity. And I'm sure all the values that you have built into your group will be followed through by so many more generations that will follow. And as I said, even though I asked you a question on legacy, I'm looking forward to come to Kenya to attend your 100th birthday 4 years from now. All the very best to you, sir, and thank you for speaking to me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your effort. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.